Location. Located in the neighborhood of Nordbro, Sankt Hans Torv is one of the many public squares in the city of Copenhagen. Sitting at the intersection of two major roads, Blejdomsvej and Guldborgsgade, the square is adjacent to St. John's Church, the largest church in Nordbro. Translated to English, Sankt Hans Torv means St. John's Market. The square is also in close proximity to Nordborggade, a major shopping street, as well as the lakes. There's traffic along three sides, and on the fourth are cafes. Nearby, there are coffee shops and a 7-Eleven. History. The site on which the square is located used to be part of Blejdomsvej Common, commons outside of the walls of Copenhagen when it was a fortified city. During this time, the site was used as a cattle market. Over time, as the area developed and became a densely populated working-class neighborhood, the site developed into a city square. The square as it stands today was designed as part of a 1993 urban renewal project. It was designed by landscape architect Sven Ingvar Andersen. According to a man we interviewed at the site, Sankt Hans Torv had a rocky start. In 1993, the Danish government passed a referendum which was met with violent opposition. Cobblestones brought to the site for construction were used by protesters as weapons in the ensuing riots. Police fired into the crowd, which is virtually unheard of in Denmark. This violent beginning gave the square a negative reputation, but it has since developed into a pleasant place for relaxation. The Fountain, the house that rains. At the center of the square is a large granite sculpture which doubles as a fountain. The sculpture was designed specifically for the square by Jan Horn Sorensen and is titled The House That Rains. Some people passing through the square treat the fountain as an obstacle to walk around. Others pass directly by the fountain, such as one teenage girl who in transit stuck her hand into the water as she passed by, and a young boy who let his dog wander through the pool of water at the base of the fountain. Others come and sit on the fountain's blocks. These blocks are a popular spot for people who are looking for a place to eat takeout food, whether it's coffee and a pastry from a coffee shop or a quick bite from 7-Eleven. Aside from as a spot to sit, children seem to be the only ones who have prolonged interactions with the fountain, specifically the water. This includes a young child who walked along one of the blocks and then jumped off into her mother's arms, as well as a group of children who made a game out of running and jumping over the fountain's water spouts. Seating. Located throughout the square are several benches. There are 4 granite benches in addition to a pair of wooden benches. These provide the main seating option. Some sit on these benches for moments and then continue to pass by. Others spend more time there enjoying the environment, like a mother who went to feed her baby and a woman reading the paper. While there is the option to face either way on the granite benches, people generally sit facing into the square. The exception to this is the bench on the corner of Blejdomsvej and Guldborgsgade under the tree. People sit on this bench and face into the square when doing personal activities, but sit facing the opposite direction to people watch out on the street. On sunny days, select people can be seen choosing to sit on the ground whether or not the benches are taken. Nature. The square contains 5 trees. 4 trees line the outdoor seating for Sebastopol, providing shade and privacy, while the 5th is located at the corner of Blejdomsvej and Guldborgsgade, provides shade to those who sit on the bench beneath it. Bike parking. Bike racks line the edge of the square along Guldborgsgade. They hold approximately 100 to 150 bikes, but during the day there are always more bikes in the square than there are spots in the bike racks. The bike racks along Guldborgsgade are most often overflowing during the day. This results in an excess of bikes piling up in various locations in the square. When there is not enough room in the bike racks, people lean their bikes on the trees at the corner of Blejdomsvej and Guldborgsgade, as well as the tree adjacent to the wooden benches. On particularly crowded days, the benches begin to pile up with bikes as well, notably the wooden benches and the longer granite bench adjacent to the bike racks. Cafes. Sebastopol and Pussy Galore's Flying Circus are the cafes located in the square. Both open relatively early in the morning and are open well into the evening. The cafes are a place to eat, hang out, and people watch. Both have consistent traffic throughout the course of the day, which picks up at mealtimes, particularly in the evening. Public interaction in the space. Other activities people partake in the square are reading and meeting people. The small size of the square makes it a perfect location for friends to use as a meeting spot. People who meet in the square meet with varying intentions. Some meet for a conversation on a bench, others meet to head to cafes, and still others find their friend before heading to another location entirely. The most common path people take through the square is walking around the edge but cutting the corners. The other main axis of movement is between the fountain and cafes. People walk this route not only to get to and from the cafes, but to retrieve their bike or as to cut through as well. When it rains at Sankt Hans Torv, the activity in the square shifts. During sun showers, the number of people moving through the square remain relatively unaffected. However, those sitting out in the open likely leave. During heavier rain, people tend to find shade and avoid the square. Through any rain, people will continue to enter and leave the cafes, since their seating areas are well covered by large awnings. Areas for improvement. While Sankt Hans Torv is overall a well-used square that draws a variety of people and activities, there are a few changes that we believe would improve the square. First, the square needs more bike racks. Because of the limited number of spots for bikes on the racks compared to the number of people who choose to leave their bikes in the square, there are bikes left throughout the square, which crowds it and takes away paths for pedestrians and benches from those looking for a place to sit. Additionally, based on the activity currently taking place at the square, a takeaway place for food would benefit the square. As it currently stands, people wanting to sit in the main part of the square must bring their own food. Having a takeaway spot within the square would make the square a destination for these people, not just the place that they happen to choose after they get their food. With the addition of a takeaway place, more public seating would also be recommended. On a sunny day when there are many people out and about, benches are often taken, and people must sit on the ground. More benches would encourage people to get food from the takeaway place, as it increases their chances of having a place to sit, as well as invite more people to stay and interact with the space overall, rather than just passing through.